Welcome to this special podcast. We're having a discussion that's interesting. This is Women's Month, the month of March, and so many things happen to put focus on the success of the woman, but also the challenges. We want to take a different approach to, slightly different approach to what everybody has been doing in this podcast, in this discussion. And I'm a professional counselor. My name is Samuel Setumba. I've been doing counseling for more than 12 years. And increasingly, I'm encountering the issue with Generation Z and millennial women, quite empowered, educated, and yet they are finding challenges, finding matches in terms of their male colleagues, in terms of expectations. We are going to dissect this issue. We're going to hear from the Generation Z women and millennial, all of them men and women, on this issue. It's a free flow discussion. You make your own judgment when we are done. I want to introduce them, my panelists today. And on my immediate right is Miss Desire Nisima. Is it okay to call you Miss? All right. Next to her, there is Mr. Joseph Tumwesije. Joseph, welcome. And next to Joseph is Mr. John Adair, who is also a content creator. He's at home, I think, in this panel, I guess. Joseph, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm John Kenny Adair.
I know you like Kenny. You'll tell us about that later. And finally, on my right, actually, I say right, left, actually, right is Miss Margaret or Maggie. Maggie, yeah?
Yes,
Maggie
okay.
Chirabo. Thank you for joining us on this panel.
Thank you for having me.
So welcome. We are going to deal with this topic in three phases in terms of what, why, and solutions. People sometimes talk about things and they don't really give solutions. We want to find solutions in this discussion. But let's deal with the first with the what. Let me come to you, Desire. My assessment as a counselor is that your generation are finding difficult locating or dating the right kind of guys in your generation because of the fall below expectations. Have you experienced something like that? Oh, I am off.
Of course, this tends to be a trend actually.
Yes.
Normally, when you're talking to people my age,
Yeah.
the people you're calling the Gen Z,
Yes.
they actually find dating nowadays very stressing.
Okay.
Like dating the people in the same generation, the same age gap. So it tends to be so stressing, and at times they just choose to let it be for some time and maybe resume, or they find other options, of which the options are usually never nice. They tend to find other guys aside, and this has increased. It has created a scenario where you find a partner has different partners aside, which is not good.
We'll come back to what they're looking for when they do that. Before I go to the guys, let me come to you, Maggie. Tell us, we're still dealing with the what. What's your experience? Even from your friends, in as far as dating is concerned. I know you're Generation Z also. Another millennial.
I'm a Gen Z.
Generation Z, okay.
But well, it comes down to, like you said, expectations. I feel like we have these expectations of, wow, he should be 100. You know, like you have your scale 1 to 10.
Yeah.
So at times, even when he just ticks 4 boxes, you're like, no. Much as those 4 boxes he's ticking
Yes.
are actually the ones you're like, oh, these are the ones I can't compromise on. But the fact that there is that extra number 5 you're not seeing, you're like, nah, I don't think it will work out.
Let me start with you. Expectations. What are some of the things you could expect from guys of your generation, and yet they are just not delivering?
Well, for one, responsibility.
Mm.
I feel like for most of them, once they get the hint of, okay, responsibility, I have to be responsible for this person, like I actually have to commit. No, I'm not ready. And the problem is, you can never know when someone will be ready. I mean, you can say, okay, I'll be patient, let me wait for you.
Yeah.
But for how long am I supposed to wait? 9, 10 years? I mean, time is waiting for no one. So in most cases, you find like people in our brackets, they're like, 1 year, 2 years, you're not deciding, bye bye. Let me try another option.
Okay.
Let me see how it works out or how it goes.
Sort of matches what Desire earlier was saying about
Exactly.
people moving on.
Yeah.
Because the expectations are not being met. And here we're looking at from the standpoint of the expectations of the women of Generation Z and the millennials.
Yeah.
Let me turn to John. Now you heard what the ladies said. Don't worry about what they said, but you have your own thoughts on, in this regard.
Right.
Tell us, John, is it a fair assessment that you guys are not measuring up what the girls expect?
This is
What do you want? What do you guys want? What's up?
okay. Here's the thing. One thing I know is that the ladies, women, have been empowered over the years. They have been empowered so much in such a way that they have reached to the level where they are equal to the gentlemen. Now, a woman of my age, I'm currently 24, will look at the things I can offer as average things she can access on her own without anybody really helping her. So she expects certain things that I have not yet achieved in my life, and things that she herself has not yet achieved. Things like a car, maybe a good house, regularly, maybe sending her some money, of which the money I might be able to send regularly, she can afford it right now. Because
she sort of doesn't need you a bit.
She sort of doesn't need me. What I can afford is what she can afford. So we are equal, but then there's this thing where one person is heavier than the other. You get? And this other person needs certain things that literally you can't access at the moment. You get? So I've seen several girls going for people who are older than them. You get? People who are a little older than them, 30 years, someone who is 20 and they're dating someone who is 30. Now, the trouble comes when it comes to reasoning. This girl expects ice cream regularly, and this person of 30 thinks you should be home cooking food. Yet me who understands what she wants, who knows that she likes Snapchat so much, and she likes going out to maybe to parties. She's despising me. So there is really nothing much we can do except maybe finding people who understand us.
Yeah.
Yes. Although these girls who grow up with like friend zoning us.
Let me go to Joseph. I will come back to you, John. Very interesting thoughts there. Joseph, is this a fair assessment? From the girls said you guys are not measuring up. Are you not measuring up?
Yeah, but, first of all, I think it's important to state that there are 3 Gen Z individuals.
Yes.
And I'm a millennial.
You're a millennial, yes.
So I'm a boomer.
No.
Yeah?
But go on.
I'm exaggerating.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, and so my problems might be a bit different from.
We want to hear from millennials also.
From their problems. And I would say, first and foremost, I think he hinted on it a bit. Companionship is not a priority for the Gen Zs right now. They're still chasing other dreams, probably. But I know eventually it will catch up to them, and companionship will be something they need eventually, probably in their 30s. And they will have to take that path. It's inevitable for most. But right now they have the other priorities that they seem to be putting their focus on, and saying, you know what, the guys can wait. And also, it seems that the issue they have with men are men of their generation, similar Gen Zs and everything. And I can assure you that most of them are obviously dating millennials.
But Joseph, my experience I shared from the beginning is actually with millennials, actually.
Yeah,
More with millennials, actually.
Yes.
And millennials we're talking about here, people age 30, 34, between 34 and 27. That one there, that
Yeah,
range,
Yes.
who are kind of getting ready to like get married
Yes.
or start dating seriously. They are finding problems. They say the millennial guys are also not measuring up. So really, let's focus on that bracket.
So it seems easily that it's a matter of this similar generations.
Yes,
We've all
yes.
achieved the same things, and we've always known. And this is not to undermine women's
Yes.
efforts and all that kind of stuff. But we've always known that women have always chosen older gentlemen, people who are more successful than them in their relationships. So yes, even millennials, the ladies, they chose older gentlemen, and even the Gen Zs are choosing the older gentlemen. Maybe somebody a little more successful than them. I'm not sure. But the thing is, right now, I think the biggest issue is that it's not a priority for them.
Yeah.
They would like to get businesses, they would like to get their jobs, they would like to get their successes before they can settle down. And obviously,
I appreciate. You can see the dimension of these issues. The girls say you are not meeting the expectations, but you are saying, like you said, John, well, all of us are equal, and how can you say I'm not meeting your expectations when we are equal?
it's important for them to also mention what expectations is. Is it financial?
Yes.
Is it sexual? Is it I don't know, looks?
Emotional?
Yeah, is it emotional? Is it are you seeking, you know, I recently learned of love languages which
Yes.
are being seriously pushed in Pentecostals in Uganda. And maybe they don't meet your particular love language. Maybe what are your priorities with yourself? What exactly is it that you want from a guy?
Yes. Let's come to the girls.
Are you
Good question you
specific?
brought, Joseph. Let me turn to Desire. Desire, what are your expectations? The girls, the guys are saying, what are you saying? What are you talking about?
Actually, women don't need much. We don't need much. But also, just like John was saying, you will get to know a person who likes you. Like, there are not like very many signs. There is not much women need. We just need like stability, of which stability comes in terms of finance, then in terms of strength and capability, of which capability usually matches with the finance. So for us women, like even when you look at the family structures, even the traditional time, like a woman would need to be with a man who is step ahead. They would not want to okay, like sometimes some scenarios a woman just goes with a person because they love each other, but that common ground is no longer there. I will come to you because of what you can offer, and if you can't offer me what I need, I'm not debating. I'm not up for grab. Yes.
I can give you an example. Desire. Tell me about this scenario. Generation Z. Several women I have spoken to, Generation Z and millennials. These guys tell you they want to date you. You make a date, meeting place and time. Guess what? The guy doesn't show up, doesn't call you, calls you 2 days later, and says, "Oh, sorry, I had you know."
So now these are the men. These are the men in the Generation Z. He might talk about the finance, but sometimes that is not even the problem. Just like you said, they are so unserious. They are so unintentional. It's like they're also finding out who they are. They don't know. So if you also come to me, who has at least like known some of the things that I need, I'm not taking you up. So like these men also need to sort themselves out. Like know what you want. If you feel like what you want doesn't meet with what I want, then we cannot team up.
John, I saw your expression.
Before,
You don't know. Where's Joseph? John, you don't know what you want. Tell us.
Yeah,
You don't know what you want.
that is quite interesting right there. When you say it's not just about, because there's a part where you are like, women don't need much, and I almost whispered to you, you only need just money. You know?
That is true.
Yes.
Not
So
necessarily.
you are like, we are not serious. The thing is that
Yeah,
most-
John, you are not serious. How do you make a date and you don't show up? You don't even call that. I'm not coming. I'm just saying.
no, we actually show up most times. Actually, the most times when you meet a gentleman and he doesn't take you seriously, it's because of the past he has gone through with people of your nature. You get.
Or he doesn't want to pay the bills. That could also be a point. Like in most cases, when these girls are going on a date, the man sometimes doesn't want to pay the bills, or he wants you to split.
Okay, you can mention that men usually are certain. I personally speak when when I want you to pay the bill, I'll tell you before we make that date. I'll be like,
Most are not.
You're like 1%.
Yeah, true.
I'm
Also,
special.
John, what you do? You say we are going, but we are going to split.
Yes,
Yeah, so that I know for a hand.
that's right.
Other than you just ghosting me and I'm like, okay, what's
You're
happening?
probably meeting poor communicators.
Joseph, you are
What's
itching
their
to say something.
excuse?
okay, for starters, I think a lot of words have been used to say man.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but then I have a question.
Yes.
I do not disagree with the fact that maturity is a very important thing in relationships. What does it do for you as a woman? What do you want from that? What does the money do for you as a woman? As a Gen Z person, why would you like somebody financially stable? Why would you like somebody mature? Now, I'm not saying that these are not a necessity in relationships. What I'm saying is that what I'm wondering is what they do for you, because then so that I can say something.
Okay, he has posed the question. Let's come to Maggie. Let's come to Maggie before. What do these things do for you? Okay, money, obviously, it's upkeep. Let's talk about maturity, because that's a character thing.
Yeah.
It's not a resource external. This is internal to me. What does maturity do for you, Maggie, as a Generation Z woman?
Well, maturity, I don't necessarily tag maturity to age. I usually tag it to how the person thinks, how they present themselves. Now, like he said, he speaks up. He's going to tell you up front, I don't have the money. Are you willing to pay? Yes, I want us to go on this date, but are you willing to pay? Or I have half, and we do have half. Very few men his age are going to be that honest. He's going to come up with an excuse. Oh, maybe my mom is sick, I have to run to hospital. Oh, my sister called me up, I have to do this, which is not there. He's just running away because he can't actually tell you. So me, when it comes to maturity, I'm looking at someone who can communicate, first of all. Can you stand your ground?
Character.
Exactly. Can you take criticism in a positive way? Because I mean, if we are in a relationship, then we should be aiming at building one another. So if I'm to criticize something, maybe if I bring it out in a tone you don't want, tell me, because it's not all the time that I actually know if maybe I'm being rude or mean. But when you tell me, like, I understand the point you're trying to drive home, but I don't like how you're putting it across,
So
I will listen.
But I would also like us to understand that the issue of finance in a relationship, especially for the Gen Z group, for my group, comes, especially for the ladies, it comes about from how the men have started behaving. They have deviated from the traditional norms, from the way a man is supposed to behave. They are no longer upright. So as a woman, we are always trying to look for a way out. Not in a bad way, but like in case things go wrong.
Plan B.
It's plan B. So the money issue comes in because you're like, okay, I'm going here, but in case things go wrong, I'll have plan B.
You're not sure.
Like if there is money, I'll probably put up something. So in case things go wrong, there is, like, we're looking for stability. there is something that will hold you on. Yeah, survival.
Job will come back to you.
Yeah, for survival. But if there is nothing that has to hold me, if there is nothing that has to keep me intact, like the relationship is not stable.
Okay.
I'm not saying only a man should have the money. Okay, the women are also working, we also contribute.
But responsibility.
But he should be responsible, of which you cannot be responsible when you're not financially stable.
Okay.
Okay, like you should not be stable, but have a ground, a foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Joe, before you guys come, my take from where I sit, financial stability does not mean the men don't work. My take.
Yeah.
But it is the way they treat money and the women. As the women construe that you have the money, you have a job, but you how do you take it?
You find an issue with an individual who's okay, he has a job, he has some money. Yes. What he can afford is maybe Shaka Zulu, but not Cafe Javas. You understand? But your expectations as a Gen Z lady is Cafe Javas and not Shaka Zulu. You understand? So there are those issues. If I have to talk about like what I wanted to get from this is that I think there is a lack of understanding that in the Gen Z you're both young
and millennial.
Yeah.
By the way,
let's talk about 30 and below.
Yes.
Yeah, there are some millennials. There are Gen Z. You're both young, and you're expecting maturity from a guy. That guy is also expecting maturity from you, and maybe you're also not reflecting that maturity with them. She talked about the traditional. We need to have a different conversation on toxic feminism. There is feminism, which is a good thing. There's toxic feminism, which destroyed that kind of man you want. You understand? The gentlemen of the young people of these days have been given different guidelines to run by. And those guidelines were not given to them by fellow men. It's
the policies.
The feminism movement wasn't started by men. Yeah? Even though it was for the greater good, some toxic elements got into that conversation that might have affected the Gen Z. And before we even started this conversation, we had a few conversations, and one of them was the gender equality drive that so focus put on girls, the girl child, and removed from the boy child.